The Crixalon Colosseum buzzed with anticipation. Beings from across the galaxy jostled for position, their tentacles, antennae, and various appendages twitching with excitement. Today marked the opening of the 873rd Galactic Combat Tournament, an event that had shaped interstellar politics and military doctrine for millennia. Jax Thor, the Hive Admiral of the Vespidian Swarm, chittered nervously as he observed the gathering crowds. His compound eyes darted between the myriad species represented, cataloging strengths and weaknesses. The Brutarians with their thick, armored hides, the graceful Luminae, their bioluminescent skin pulsing with barely contained energy. Even the gelatinous globulars had sent a contingent, their translucent bodies housing swirling storms of synaptic activity. But it was the newcomers that held Jax Thor's attention. Humans. The word felt strange in his mandibles. These bipedal creatures from a backwater planet called Earth had somehow qualified for the tournament, much to the amusement and derision of the galactic community. Ridiculous. Jax Thor's second-in-command, Zix Von, buzzed. They look so fragile. No exoskeleton, no natural weapons. How did they even survive long enough to achieve spaceflight? Jax Thor clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. Never underestimate an unknown variable, Zix Van. Remember the Pyrian incident? Zix Von's antennae drooped at the memory. The Pyrians, a race of silicon-based life forms, had been similarly dismissed centuries ago. Their unexpected victory had reshaped the galactic power structure for generations. A thunderous roar echoed through the Colosseum as the first combatants entered the arena. Gruck the Unstoppable, champion of the Brutarians, stomped into view. His massive frame, easily 3 times the size of an average human, rippled with muscles beneath scarred, leathery skin. Facing him was Xylos, a Luminae warrior whose body crackled with arcs of bioelectric energy. As the two titans clashed, Jax Thor's attention was drawn to the human delegation. They stood out starkly among the colorful array of alien species, their plain biosuits a stark contrast to the natural armaments of their competitors. One human in particular caught his eye, a female with close-cropped hair and eyes that seemed to analyze every movement in the arena. Zix Von, scan that human, Jax Thor ordered, indicating the observer. Moments later, Zix Von reported back. Designation, Lieutenant Kira Nomura. Age, 28 Earth cycles. Combat experience, extensive, though primarily against other humans. Current status, calm. Too calm, if you ask me. Jax Thor watched as Lieutenant Nomura's eyes tracked the fight below. Where others cheered or flinched at each bone-crushing blow, she remained impassive, her gaze analytical. It was unsettling. The match concluded with Grook's victory, the Brutarian's fist raised in triumph as medics rushed to attend to the battered Xylos. The crowd's frenzy reached new heights as the next pair of combatants was announced. Entering the arena, the announcer's voice boomed, representing the Globular Confederation, Amorphous Champion Bloop X7. A shimmering mass of transparent protoplasm oozed into view, its surface rippling with iridescent patterns. Bloop X7 had no fixed shape, constantly shifting and reforming, a nightmarish opponent for any who relied on grappling or striking techniques. And challenging Bloop X7, the announcer continued, a note of amusement in its multi-toned voice, representing the planet Earth, human warrior Ajax Steel. A ripple of laughter spread through the alien spectators as a human male strode confidently into the arena. He was tall for his species, with dark skin and a closely shaved head. His biosuit clung to a muscular frame that, while impressive by human standards, seemed almost comically inadequate compared to the monstrous beings that populated the tournament. Jax Thor leaned forward, his curiosity piqued. "This should be educational," he chittered to Zix Von. "Let's see how these humans fare against a truly alien opponent." As Ajax Steel squared off against the amorphous Bloop X7, the crowd's laughter died down, replaced by a tense silence. The human showed no fear, no hesitation. Instead, a slight smile played across his lips as he settled into a fighting stance unfamiliar to the watching aliens. The signal to begin the match sounded, and Bloop X7 surged forward, its gelatinous body elongating into a tidal wave of protoplasm. Ajax Steel's eyes narrowed, his muscles tensing as he prepared to meet the oncoming onslaught. What happened next would change the course of galactic combat forever. The collective gasp that echoed through the Crixolon Colosseum was deafening. Ajax Steel, the human warrior who moments ago had been the subject of mockery, now stood triumphant over the quivering mass of Bluepeck 7. The globular champion, its amorphous body struggling to maintain cohesion, gurgled in what could only be described as utter disbelief. "Impossible!" Zix Von buzzed, his compound eyes dilating in shock. What did he? Jax Thor, equally stunned, could only shake his head in wonder. The human had moved with a speed and precision that defied their initial assessment. When Bluepeck 7 had surged forward, Ajax had danced around its gelatinous form, striking with pinpoint accuracy at what appeared to be random spots. But each blow had sent shockwaves through the globular's body, disrupting its internal structure. As the medics rushed to stabilize Bluepeck 7, Jax Thor's gaze locked onto Lieutenant Kira Nomura. The female human's expression had shifted from analytical calm to a fierce pride, a predatory grin spreading across her face. "Zix Von," Jax Thor chittered urgently, "I want everything we have on human combat techniques. Now!" As Ajax Steel exited the arena to the stunned silence of the alien spectators, the story of his unlikely victory spread like wildfire through the tournament grounds. In the human quarters, a celebration was underway, but it was far from the raucous affair one might expect. Lieutenant Kira Nomura approached Ajax, her eyes gleaming with a mixture of pride and calculation. "Well done, Steel. You've given them something to think about." Ajax nodded, his earlier bravado replaced by a focused intensity. "They underestimated us, just like you said they would, LT, but that won't last long." Kira's grin turned wolfish. "No, it won't, which is why we need to step up our game. Ramirez, status report." From the shadows of their makeshift command center emerged Sergeant Elena Ramirez, her dark eyes scanning a holographic display floating above her wrist. "The intel we gathered from Ajax's fight is already being processed, LT. We're updating our combat algorithms as we speak." Kira nodded approvingly. "Good. And our secret weapon?" Elena's expression turned grim. "Operative Shadowhawk is prepped and ready. But LT, are you sure about this? The physical toll of the enhancements is necessary," Kira finished firmly. "Humanity's future in this galaxy might well depend on our performance in this tournament. We can't afford to hold back." As if summoned by their conversation, a figure emerged from a dimly lit corner of the room. Operative Darius, Shadowhawk Chen, moved with an eerie fluidity, his body a testament to the extremes of human bioengineering. Subdermal armor pulsed beneath his skin, and his eyes gleamed with an unnatural silvery sheen. "I'm ready, Lieutenant." Shadowhawk's voice was a low rasp, the result of vocal cord modifications designed to produce subsonic frequencies capable of disorienting certain alien species. "Just point me at the target." Kira studied the enhanced operative, a mixture of awe and concern in her gaze. "You understand the risks, Darius? This isn't just about winning fights. We need to showcase the full spectrum of human adaptability, our capacity to push beyond our limits." Shadowhawk nodded solemnly. "I volunteered for this, LT, whatever it takes to secure humanity's place among the stars." As the team continued their strategic planning, news of Ajax Steel's victory had reached the highest echelons of the tournament organizers. In a secure chamber high above the arena floor, representatives from the galaxy's most powerful factions gathered in emergency session. Grand Arbiter Zixun, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate exosuit, addressed the assembly. "Esteemed colleagues, we face an unprecedented situation. These humans have demonstrated capabilities far beyond our initial assessments." Warlord Kathax of the Brutarian Empire slammed a meaty fist on the conference table. "Bah! One lucky victory means nothing. Let them face a true warrior, and we'll see how quickly they fall." Ambassador Lumina of the Photonic Conclave raised a glowing appendage. "We must not be hasty in our judgments. There is clearly more to these humans than meets the eye. Perhaps we should consider." Her words were cut short as alarms blared throughout the chamber. On the main view screen, footage from the arena floor appeared, showing chaos erupting in the stands. A group of Pyrian terrorists, their crystalline bodies glittering menacingly, had launched an attack on the spectators. Grand Arbiter Zexun's voice crackled with static as he issued emergency orders. "Secure the arena. Protect the civilians. Where are our security forces?" But before the official response could mobilize, a blur of motion caught everyone's attention. The humans, led by Ajax Steel and Kira Nomura, had sprung into action. They moved with a coordination and efficiency that left the alien observers stunned. Ajax's hand-to-hand skills, so recently demonstrated against Bluebeck 7, now proved equally effective against the silicon-based Pyrians. Each strike shattered crystalline limbs and disrupted their internal structures. Kira, revealing combat prowess that rivaled Ajax's, wielded what appeared to be a simple metal staff with devastating effect, using leverage and momentum to overcome the Pyrians' superior strength. But it was Operative Shadowhawk who truly captured the attention of the galactic leaders. Moving faster than seemed possible for an organic being, he flowed through the chaotic battlefield like a living shadow. His enhanced body adapted to each new threat, subdermal armor hardening to deflect energy blasts, muscles reconfiguring to deliver blows that could crack Pyrian crystal. As the dust settled and the last of the terrorists were subdued, an eerie silence fell over the Crixalon Colosseum. The assembled aliens, from the highest-ranking officials to the common spectators, stared at the humans with a newfound mix of awe and terror. Jaxithor, his mandibles clicking rapidly in agitation, turned to Zix Von. This changes everything. If these humans can produce warriors of this caliber. Zix Von's antennae drooped in resigned agreement. The galaxy will never be the same, Admiral. For better or worse, humanity has announced its presence on the galactic stage. As medical teams tended to the injured and security forces secured the Pyrian prisoners, Kira Nomura locked eyes with Grand Arbiter Zex Un. No words were exchanged, but the message was clear. Humanity was here to stay, and the tournament had just become about much more than simple combat prowess. The human team regrouped, their expressions a mix of grim satisfaction and steely determination. They had made their point, but the real challenges were only beginning. The galaxy was watching, and humanity's future hung in the balance. The atmosphere in the Crixalon Colosseum had shifted dramatically. Where once there had been derision and amusement at the presence of humans, now there was a palpable undercurrent of tension. Alien spectators eyed the human competitors with a mixture of fascination and fear, while military leaders from various species huddled in urgent consultation. Admiral Jax Thor paced nervously in his private observation pod, his chitinous exoskeleton clicking with each agitated step. This is unprecedented, Zix Von. We must adapt our strategies, and quickly. Zix Von's antennae twitched as he processed the latest data streams. The human known as Shadowhawk concerns me most, Admiral. Our scans can barely make sense of his biological structure. It's as if he's constantly evolving. Before Jax Thor could respond, a thunderous roar echoed through the arena. On the main combat floor, a Brutarian warrior named Gronx the Pulverizer was facing off against another human competitor. This one, a lithe female introduced as Arya Frost, seemed almost fragile compared to the mountain of muscle and bone that was Gronx. As the battle commenced, it quickly became clear that this was no repeat of Ajax Steel's victory. Gronx's massive fists came crashing down, each blow powerful enough to shatter reinforced Durasteel. Yet somehow, Arya moved with an almost precognitive grace, always just beyond the Brutarian's reach. Impossible, Gronx bellowed, his frustration growing with each missed strike. Stand still, puny human. Arya's voice, calm and collected, carried clearly across the arena. Why would I do that when dancing with you is so much fun? Her taunt elicited a mix of gasps and nervous laughter from the crowd. Gronx, enraged, charged forward with reckless abandon. It was exactly what Arya had been waiting for. In a move that defied the expectations of every alien observer, she stood her ground at the last possible second. Just as Gronx's bulk was about to crush her, Arya executed a maneuver that could only be described as physics-defying. Using the Brutarian's own momentum against him, combined with a precise application of force that targeted key pressure points, Arya sent Gronx flying. The massive alien crashed into the arena wall with an impact that shook the entire structure. Silence fell over the Colosseum, broken only by the sound of Gronx's unconscious body sliding to the ground. Arya Frost stood in the center of the arena, barely even breathing hard, a small smile playing on her lips. In the VIP section, Grand Arbiter Zexun's energy form fluctuated wildly within his containment suit. This cannot be allowed to continue. These humans, they're not just skilled, they're dangerous. Warlord Kathax, still nursing his wounded pride from the Brutarian defeat, snarled in agreement. We should disqualify them. Clearly, they're using some form of illegal enhancements or hidden technology. Ambassador Lumina's bioluminescent patterns pulsed thoughtfully. Perhaps we're approaching this the wrong way. Instead of fearing their abilities, we should be seeking to understand them. Imagine if we could harness such adaptability for the benefit of all species. As the galactic leaders debated, the human team was engaged in their own strategic discussion. Lieutenant Kira Nomura paced before her assembled warriors, her eyes blazing with intensity. Outstanding work, Arya, she commended. You've given us another crucial data point on alien combat techniques. But make no mistake, our victories have put a target on our backs. They'll be coming at us with everything they've got now. Ajax Steele, his face set in grim determination, spoke up. Let them come, LT. We've trained for this our whole lives. Earth is counting on us. Kira nodded, then turned to Operative Shadowhawk. Darius, your match is next. How are the enhancements holding up? Shadowhawk flexed his hand, watching as the subdermal armor rippled beneath his skin. Functionality is at 98% LT, but the neural interface is becoming more insistent. The AI is suggesting strategies I hadn't considered. A flicker of concern passed over Kira's face. Remember your training, Shadowhawk. You're in control, not the tech. We push the boundaries, but we don't cross the line into becoming something inhuman. As the team continued their preparations, news of the human victories spread like wildfire through the galaxy. On countless worlds, beings of all species watched in awe and trepidation. Militaries began reevaluating their combat doctrines, while scientific communities clamored for access to human biological data. Back in the arena, the next match was about to begin. Operative Shadowhawk stepped onto the combat floor, his enhanced senses taking in every detail of his surroundings. Across from him stood his opponent, a Xenon collective warrior, its body a shimmering mass of metallic tendrils capable of reconfiguring into various weapon forms. As the signal to begin the match sounded, Shadowhawk felt the familiar surge of his enhancements activating. But this time, something was different. The AI interface, usually a background presence, surged to the forefront of his consciousness. Threat analysis complete, the AI's voice echoed in his mind. Conventional tactics insufficient. Recommend full integration for optimal performance. Shadowhawk hesitated for a split second, Kira's warning ringing in his ears. But as the Xenon warrior's limbs transformed into a whirling vortex of blades, survival instinct took over. Full integration, Shadowhawk whispered, his voice lost in the roar of the crowd. What happened next would change the course of the tournament, and possibly the future of human-alien relations, forever. Shadowhawk's body began to shift and morph in ways that defied biological understanding. His skin became a liquid metal, flowing and reforming to counter each of the Xenon warrior's attacks. Limbs elongated, split, and recombined in real time, matching and then exceeding the alien's shape-shifting abilities. The crowd watched in horrified fascination as the two combatants merged into a swirling maelstrom of metal and flesh, neither fully organic nor fully machine. It was a battle that transcended the physical, a clash of adaptability and evolution made manifest. In the human command center, alarms blared as Shadowhawk's biometrics went haywire. Kira stared at the readouts in disbelief. My God, what have we done? As the battle reached its climax, the very fabric of the arena seemed to warp and twist. Reality itself appeared to bend around the two combatants, their forms blurring into something beyond the comprehension of most observers. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, it was over. The swirling chaos coalesced into a single form. Shadowhawk stood victorious, his body slowly returning to a semblance of human shape. The Xenon warrior lay inert on the arena floor, its metallic body shattered and lifeless. Silence reigned in the Crixalon Colosseum. Aliens of all species stared in shock, their minds struggling to process what they had just witnessed. In the VIP section, Grand Arbiter Zexun's energy form pulsed erratically. This tournament is suspended, his voice boomed across the arena. All human combatants are to be quarantined immediately for further evaluation. As security forces moved to surround Shadowhawk, his eyes met Kira's across the arena. In that moment, both knew that the game had changed. Humanity's debut on the galactic stage had taken an unexpected turn, and the consequences would ripple across the stars. The tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a knife. What had started as a simple combat tournament had evolved into something far more complex and potentially dangerous. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The Crixalon Colosseum, once an arena of spectacle and glory, now resembled a fortified military installation. Energy barriers hummed ominously, separating the human competitors from the rest of the tournament participants. Armed guards from a dozen different species patrolled the perimeter, their weapons trained on the quarantine zone. Inside this impromptu prison, Lieutenant Kira Nomura paced restlessly, her mind racing. Ajax Steel and Arya Frost sat in tense silence, while Operative Shadowhawk stood motionless in a corner, his form still occasionally rippling with aftershocks of his transformation. "This is bad, LT," Ajax muttered, his usual bravado replaced by genuine concern. "We came here to prove ourselves, not start an intergalactic incident." Kira's eyes flashed with determination. "We're not done yet. This is just an unexpected complication." Before she could elaborate, the energy barrier flickered and parted. Grand Arbiter Zexun floated through, flanked by Warlord Kathax and Ambassador Lumina. The contrast between the three alien leaders was stark. Zexun's energy form pulsed with barely contained agitation. Kathax's massive frame radiated aggression, while Lumina's bioluminescent patterns shifted in complex, thoughtful patterns. "Humans," Zexun's voice crackled with a mixture of fear and fascination. "You stand accused of bringing illegal and dangerous technology into this sacred tournament. How do you plead?" Kira stepped forward, her posture radiating calm authority. "With all due respect, Arbiter, we've broken no rules. Everything you've seen is the result of human ingenuity and our natural adaptability." Kathax let out a booming laugh. "Natural? You expect us to believe that? Abomination is natural?" He jabbed a meaty finger towards Shadowhawk. Ambassador Lumina's soft voice cut through the tension. "Perhaps we're asking the wrong questions. Humans, what was your true purpose in entering this tournament?" A heavy silence fell over the room. Kira exchanged glances with her team, a silent communication passing between them. Finally, she took a deep breath and spoke. "The truth is, we came here to save humanity, and possibly the entire galaxy." The alien leaders reacted with a mixture of surprise and skepticism. Zexun's energy form flickered rapidly. "Explain. Now." Kira's voice took on a tone of urgency. "For centuries, Earth has been receiving fragmentary transmissions from deep space. We've managed to decode enough to know that something is coming, something ancient, powerful, and hostile to all life as we know it." Ajax stepped forward, his face grim. "We call them the Void Heralds. They consume entire civilizations, assimilating their knowledge and technology, and they're heading straight for the heart of the galaxy." Kathax snorted in disbelief. "Preposterous. If such a threat existed, surely our advanced civilizations would have detected it." Arya Frost spoke up, her voice soft but filled with conviction. "Your civilizations have grown complacent, relying on technology that hasn't fundamentally changed in millennia. The Void Heralds operate on principles that defy your current understanding of physics." Shadowhawk, his form finally stabilized, addressed the alien leaders directly. "My enhancements, all of our training, it's been in preparation for this threat. We needed to prove ourselves here to show that humanity could be a valuable ally in the coming war." Ambassador Lumina's bioluminescence pulsed with rapid patterns. "If what you say is true, why come to us like this? Why not simply share this information?" Kira's expression hardened. "Would you have believed us? A young, primitive species claiming to have knowledge of a threat you couldn't detect? We needed to show you what humanity is capable of." As the implications of their words sank in, alarms suddenly blared throughout the Colosseum. The main view screen crackled to life, showing a scene of chaos erupting in the space around the station. A massive, writhing form of darkness was emerging from what appeared to be a tear in the fabric of space itself. Tendrils of void energy lashed out, enveloping nearby ships and draining them of power. "Impossible!" Zixun's voice was filled with terror. "They can't be here already." Kira's eyes blazed with determination. "They must have detected our enhanced capabilities and accelerated their timeline." Grand Arbiter, Warlord, Ambassador, the future of all our species hangs in the balance. Will you stand with us? For a moment, the alien leaders hesitated. Then slowly, Kathax nodded his massive head. If we die in glorious battle. Lumina's form glowed with resolve. The photonic conclave stands with humanity. Zixun's energy form stabilized, taking on a more focused shape. Release the humans and rally all our forces. The galactic combat tournament is over. The true battle begins now. As the energy barriers fell and alarms blared across the station, Kira turned to her team. This is it, people. Everything we've trained for. Shadowhawk, you're our ace in the hole. Push your enhancements to the limit, but remember, stay human at your core. Shadowhawk nodded, his form already beginning to shift in anticipation of the coming battle. Understood, LT, for Earth and for the galaxy. Ajax cracked his knuckles, a fierce grin spreading across his face. Time to show these Void Heralds why picking a fight with humanity was their biggest mistake. Arya closed her eyes for a moment, centering herself. When she opened them, they shone with an inner fire. Let's rewrite the laws of physics, shall we? As the human team rushed towards the hangar bay, joined by a motley crew of alien warriors, the Crixalon Colosseum shuddered under the first assault of the Void Heralds. The ultimate showdown had begun, with the fate of countless civilizations hanging in the balance. In the chaos of the moment, as species that had been rivals mere hours ago now fought side by side, a new understanding began to dawn. The true strength of humanity lay not just in their adaptability or their technology, but in their ability to unite disparate forces against a common threat. The battle that followed would become legend, whispered in awe across the galaxy for generations to come. It was a clash of realities, where the laws of physics were bent and broken, where the impossible became possible through sheer force of will and desperate ingenuity. And at the heart of it all, 4 humans stood as the vanguard of a united galaxy, their actions in these critical moments shaping the future of all sentient life. The silence that fell over the Crixalon Colosseum was deafening. Where once the cacophony of battle had raged, now there was only the occasional spark of damaged equipment and the labored breathing of exhausted warriors. The Void Heralds, that terrifying force that had threatened to consume all of known space, were gone. Lieutenant Kira Nomura stood at the center of the debris-strewn arena, her uniform torn and bloodied, but her eyes blazing with fierce pride. Around her, a motley crew of humans and aliens alike were slowly regaining their senses, the reality of their victory sinking in. Ajax Steel limped towards Kira, his usual cocky grin replaced by a look of awe. We did it, LT. We actually did it. Arya Frost materialized beside them, her movements still graceful despite her obvious exhaustion. The cost was high, but the galaxy stands. Kira nodded solemnly, her gaze sweeping across the battered but united forces. Where's Shadowhawk? As if in answer, a swirling vortex of energy coalesced nearby, slowly taking on a humanoid shape. Operative Shadowhawk emerged, his form flickering between states of matter, the boundaries between man and machine more blurred than ever. Reporting in, Lieutenant, Shadowhawk's voice resonated with harmonics that seemed to echo from another dimension. The Void Herald threat has been neutralized, but I'm not sure how much of me is left. Kira approached him cautiously, concern etched on her face. Darius, are you still in there? For a moment, Shadowhawk's form continued to shift and warp. Then, with visible effort, it stabilized into a more recognizably human shape. A flicker of a smile crossed his face. I'm here, LT. It's still me, mostly. Before they could discuss further, Grand Arbiter Zixun floated towards them, his energy form pulsing with a mixture of relief and trepidation. Humans of Earth, you have saved us all, but in doing so, you have changed the face of galactic civilization forever. Warlord Kathax, his massive frame battered but unbowed, let out a booming laugh. Changed? They've turned it upside down and inside out. Glorious. Ambassador Lumina glided forward, her bioluminescence creating complex patterns of light. We owe you a debt that can never be fully repaid. But we must ask, what happens now? Kira straightened, her posture shifting from warrior to diplomat. Now, we rebuild, together. The Void Heralds were defeated not by human strength alone, but by the combined might of a united galaxy. Ajax nodded in agreement. Earth stands ready to share our knowledge, our adaptability. But we also have much to learn from you all. Arya's voice was soft but carried clearly. The tournament that brought us here was meant to determine the greatest warriors in the galaxy. Perhaps it's time for a new kind of competition, one that celebrates our diversity and encourages cooperation. Shadowhawk, his form finally stable, addressed the assembled leaders. My condition is proof that we've only scratched the surface of what's possible when we combine our knowledge and capabilities. Grand Arbiter Zixun's energy form pulsed thoughtfully. Your words have merit, but there will be those who fear the power you've displayed. The ban on humans in hand-to-hand combat may have been short-sighted, but it came from a place of genuine concern. Kira's eyes flashed with determination. Then let us channel that power, that adaptability, into peaceful pursuits. Imagine what we could accomplish if we turned our combined ingenuity towards solving the great challenges that face us all. As the implications of her words sank in, a ripple of excitement passed through the assembled beings. Species that had been bitter rivals for millennia now looked at each other with new eyes, seeing potential allies where once they saw only competitors. Warlord Kathax slammed his fist against his chest in a gesture of respect. The humans have proven themselves 100 times over. I say we welcome them fully into the galactic community. Ambassador Lumina's glow brightened. Agreed, their unique perspective could be the key to advancements we've never even dreamed of. Grand Arbiter Zexun's form solidified, taking on a more defined shape. So be it. Let it be known across the stars. From this day forward, humanity stands as equals among the great civilizations of the galaxy. As cheers erupted from all corners of the battered Colosseum, Kira turned to her team. Well done, all of you. I couldn't be prouder. Ajax grinned, some of his old swagger returning. So LT, does this mean we get a vacation? Arya rolled her eyes, but a small smile played on her lips. Somehow, I doubt things will be slowing down anytime soon. Shadowhawk, his form now stable but forever changed, spoke softly. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together, not just as a team, but as part of something greater. As the impromptu celebration continued around them, news of the Void Herald's defeat and humanity's pivotal role spread across the galaxy at faster-than-light speeds. On countless worlds, beings of all species looked to the stars with a mixture of hope and trepidation, knowing that the universe as they knew it had changed irrevocably. In the days and weeks that followed, the ban on humans in hand-to-hand combat became a relic of the past, replaced by a new ethos of collaborative training and exchange of techniques. The Crixalon Colosseum, once a battleground for individual glory, was transformed into a center for galactic cooperation and scientific advancement. Operative Shadowhawk, his unique condition, a bridge between organic and synthetic life, became a symbol of the new era, a living embodiment of the potential that lay in combining diverse technologies and biologies. Lieutenant Kira Nomura found herself at the forefront of a new diplomatic corps, tasked with fostering understanding between Earth and its newfound galactic neighbors. Ajax Steel and Arya Frost became instructors, sharing human fighting techniques while eagerly learning alien combat styles that defied earthly physics. As for humanity as a whole, they embraced their new role in the galactic community with characteristic adaptability and enthusiasm. Earth became a hub of interstellar cultural exchange, its cities transformed by alien architecture and technology, while human innovations spread to the farthest reaches of known space. The story of the 4 humans who had turned a combat tournament into the salvation of the galaxy became legend, retold countless times across 1,000 worlds. But for Kira, Ajax, Arya, and Shadowhawk, it was just the beginning. As they stood on the observation deck of the newly christened Unity Station, watching ships of all shapes and sizes coming and going in harmonious traffic, Kira smiled to herself. The path ahead was uncertain, filled with challenges they couldn't even imagine. But one thing was clear: the universe would never underestimate the power of humanity again. In the vast tapestry of galactic civilization, a new thread had been woven, bright, vibrant, and undeniably human.